All right, let's take a look at the status bar. The status bar is down below your views, and there's been some new commands moved to this area. The first one you'll see is a rectangular select or a polygon select. So by default, the rectangular select should be on, and that allows you to left click and hold your left mouse button down and drag down to the lower right or the upper left. And so if I drag to the lower right, any objects within that area will be selected, versus if I drag to the upper right from the lower left or upper left from the lower right, anything that crosses that box will be selected. If I switch to the polygon select, then when I hold my key down, you'll see that it starts the first line. I let go of the left mouse button, and I can select objects this way, and then double left click when I'm done. Anything within that polygon will be selected. If I do it the other way, it's just whatever it crosses. So if you go to the right, it's what's within the window. If you go to the left, it's what crosses the window. The other things you can do here is you can toggle the background color from black to white simply by clicking on the next icon to the right. And you'll see that I have a black or a white background versus the black background. Next to that, you have the toggle the grid lines on. So let me switch it back to black here. So you can see I have my grid lines in my plan view. If I toggle this, it turns off those grid lines. So I can leave them on or toggle them off. The next one is the line marking toggle. So if we look close down here, actually it's toggled off. So if I toggle it back on, what it's going to do is display any of the line markings. So like the elevations of the lines within my view. So you can see when you toggle it on, it displays these line markings, which gives you the elevations and the markings along the vertices of the objects in your drawing. Now you can toggle them on and off, as well as go to the settings, and in the settings there's a filter here. So you can see here I bumped it up to 100,000. If I drop this down to maybe 1,000, it's going to reduce the number of objects that are actually displayed with this line marking. So you can see that it's not displaying as many objects. Now again, you can toggle those on and off using this button down here. To the right of that is the line display lines as solid lines or dash lines. So if the line style has a dash or it's got a line style associated with it, by toggling this, you can see here it's going to show all lines as either solid or show them with dashes and their line style. So I don't think I have any to display, but that's what that command does. You can see there in the sidewalk, it displayed them a little bit differently in that area there. You can see they're a little bit different line style associated in those cut fill areas. And then over that, next to that is you've got the toggle ortho snap mode, and what that does is basically just toggle your ortho on. So you're either going 90 up or down. Now again, because you're in a viewer, we don't have any drawing capabilities within here. You're going to be, that command, even though it's available, isn't really useful to you. There is a snap mode. You can see the snap mode here. I can snap to endpoints, midpoints, circles. So when you're doing the measuring commands, which we'll talk about in the measuring and editing section, you'll be able to snap to certain points within an object. Another way to get this to come up is if you shift right click when you're doing it, and that will also display those snaps, but another way to get to those. This next one here is a toggle background map. You need the license to do that, so not going to be applicable in the viewer, but what that would do is display a background map using the digital globe satellite imagery within your drawing, as long as your project is coordinated as well. And then you can see here it shows your units that you're in and what type of coordinates, and then your coordinate system zone. So if you had a zone, it was any state plane or whatever, you would see here. The flag pane, so if there's any flags on your surface, you can click on that and it will display this flag pane, which you can also get by clicking up here. It's a toggle that can be toggled on and off, and you can see that there's a break line error at this particular location. And if you double click on that, it actually zooms you to that particular spot. You can dismiss it. And then over to the right, there usually would be, if your project needs to be recalculated, which is this guy up here, compute project coordinates, or compute project. It'll show up down here as a red button as well. This shows how many numbers of objects are selected. So if I select a couple different objects here, you'll see that now I have 2 objects selected. This is your plan view dimension. So if I'm in the plan view, you can see my coordinates are being shown below. And then you also have the last one over to the far right is the coordinate scroll. So if you double left click on that, it actually will pop out this coordinate scroll. So as I move my cursor, I can see my northing and easting. Now, if I select if I right click, you'll see that I can turn on other information. So if I want to see the surface name, as well as the surface elevation and the surface slope, maybe the alignment name with a station and offset, you'll see here now that when I move my cursor around, it's showing me my surface elevation, the surface name, the surface slope, the alignment that it's looking at, as well as the station and elevation. Now to switch the alignment, if you come over to the alignments here, you can see that this one is currently selected. So if I was to pick this Courthouse Road one, you'll see that now that one's actually being shown, and that one's highlighted as what would be the current or set alignment. Same thing would happen with the surfaces, is I could come into the surfaces and choose this Courthouse Road surface, and you can see it only shows the surface elevation when I'm on the actual road surface. So that is the information on the status bar down below.